Hello my lovely duckies. Before we get into today's video, I'd like to give some backstory to Majesco Sales Incorporated and their special relationship with Sega. Majesco would acquire the license from Sega to reissue older games that were abandoned by their publishers. Eventually they would be granted permission to manufacture games and not just simply resell them. They saved money by using matte labels on the cartridges. Manuals would be printed in simple black and white, and they would replace the hard plastic cases with cheap and flimsy cardboard. Next, they got the rights to manufacture consoles, and that would be the Sega Genesis 3 in 1998 and the Game Gear Core system in 2001. And without further ado, duckies, this is the Sega Genesis Model 3. Now, as we said before, this was developed by Majesco Sales Incorporated under the Sega license. And since Majesco only had a license to deal with North America, sadly, our European friends and Japanese friends never got this model. Now, this did come out in 1998, so most of us were already on our PlayStations and Sega Saturns at that time, and our Nintendo 64s at that time. So this was really just beating a dead horse at this point. And I mean, hey, it's a Sega Genesis. I mean, the Genesis is an awesome system. So I mean, if you're gonna beat a dead horse, and might as well be the Sega Genesis. So, anyways, so on the back here we have some of the games that were listed. Now, these aren't all the games that Majesco re-released, but they did release a lot of games. And you'll know it's their games by, they don't really have a glossy label on the cartridge. It's more of a matte. They come with black and white instruction manuals instead of a full color one. And also the most noticeable thing is that they'll have a very flimsy cardboard case instead of a hard plastic case. And for collectors like me, that's that's kind of a pain in the butt, because a lot of them got tore up. So now it does come with AV cables, which is kind of cool for this, because I remember back in the day when I got my Sega Genesis Model 2, it only came with an RF switch. And yeah, that's much worse than composite. Ooh. Oh, I can't imagine how worse that would have been. But I played through it. And this one actually came with AV cables. And like all Sega Genesi, I don't know what the word is. But anyways, with all the models of the Sega Genesis, it outputs RGB. So, if you have high-definition cables, such as the pound cable, or HD Retrovision, you'll get that lovely RGB signal. Now, let's open it up and see what it is. Oh, but first, also, I forgot to mention that this did come out for $50 retail, but then, because everybody was on PlayStation and Saturn and Nintendo 64, it rapidly dropped down to $20. And I mean, man, that was pretty good. I wish back in the day I would have picked me up one, but, I was dumb and didn't realize, that these things will be worth a little bit of money in the future. I did manage to snag this off of eBay for about $50, but they do go for a little more. They go up, I've seen them go up to about $100. Sometimes they break that threshold, but, they're still relatively cheap to get, And things that come out later in a franchise's life are usually the harder things to get. So, let's open her up and see what she looks like, shall we? Let's get into it. Now, it's also known as the puck, because obviously, it's small and black and shaped like a puck. And I don't have the AV cables in here. I actually have them. I was using them on my TV from my Genesis before I got my RGB solution. But you know, uh, wait, what was that? Okay, Ducky, that's, uh, that's old hat. It's not funny anymore. Okay, so, anyways, so this is it. It's really small. Look how small that is. And, yeah, it doesn't have anything on the back. It's on the side, which is weird. And I don't really like this design here. I really wish it would have it on the back, but I guess, they were trying to, you know, because the cartridge slot's right here. So I guess they didn't have enough room, but I mean, they wish they would have designed that a little bit better. But they have it here on the side, and so that's really kind of awkward in a lot of ways. And it doesn't even have a light. No, that's how you know it's on. Yeah, just a little orange sticker there, and then you have your reset button here. So that's basically it right there. Just these two buttons, and then your two controllers here, port 1 and port 2, and anything relevant here on the bottom. Not really, but yeah, made by Jesco Sales Incorporated, assembled in Mexico. And do we have a date on here? I know it was 1998. I seen it on the box, but I just wanted to see if they had anything on here. But all right. So, anyways, I will say this thing is rather light. I've played on it before, and I will say one thing though. This thing is so light, and since the cable's right here, when you're playing, a lot of times I've actually moved this thing back and forth, you know, on my controller. If I get too excited, this thing will start moving around, sliding around. It's easy to like knock this thing over. Is it better than the other models? No. I mean, it depends on what you want. If you just want a bare bones Genesis, this is it. I mean, it's all right. It's still good. I mean, it plays every game. There's like 2 games in the 800 title library of the Sega Genesis this thing can't do, due to some kind of like processing or something to do with like the chips inside the games. I know one of them is like Gargoyles, that old Disney show. Yeah, I think that one for some reason can't play on it. And then there's like another one. So I mean, what's the odds that you actually have those 2? And if you do, I mean, hell, just get a Model 2. Have this one like me for a collector. It does not have all the options as the other models also. So if you want to play the 32X or the Sega CD, as you can see, there's no port for that. So obviously the Sega CD does not work with this. And even though, you can stick the 32X in this cartridge slot, which it looks really ridiculous, by the way. It looks so top heavy. But if you put the 32X in here, it will not work with it. It's not meant to work with anything like that. And that being said, it does not work with the Sega Master System converter. Yeah, it doesn't work with that either. But there is, I would have to tell you this, there is a mod that you can buy and you can do to this where it will accept those. It will run the 32X and it will run the Sega Master System converter. But I mean, why go through all that trouble, Ducky? I mean, at the time of this video, I mean, Model 1 and 2s on eBay are not really that expensive. I mean, how you can go to a flea market and find a Model 1 and 2 easily. I find more 2s than anything. I have yet to see a 1 in the wild. I have to go on eBay to find a 1. But, yeah, the Model 2s are everywhere. And I think those are actually better with the Sega CD, the Sega CD2. So, I mean, would you use this as your main Sega Genesis? I mean, yeah, if you were just wanting to play Sega Genesis, yeah, it's good. It's Sega Genesis. But, if you wanted to use anything else, Sega CD32X, no, it doesn't work with that. As far as like sound output and all the technical stuff, I mean, I've played it for quite a while to test it out, and I mean, it's Genesis. What can I say? You know, it's really nice to have. I mean, really portable too. I mean the other ones are really portable also, but I mean this, you know, this could fit in a purse or something. You know, so I mean, you know, you could fit this in a little backpack or something and take it with you. I mean, you know, and then of course, you know, you got the cartridges right here. You know, it does. Even the cartridges for some weird reason make this thing look really small. You know, but yeah. So would I recommend this? Absolutely. I mean, it's a Sega Genesis. Why not? Hell. But I'd get it more for a collector's piece. You know, I have it actually sitting on my shelf, as you've all seen in previous videos. But yeah, and what's this? I haven't noticed this before. Let's see here. R Zone. I'll have to look that up. I'm not really sure what that is. That's probably where they probably got it. Or it could be just some sticker somebody put on there randomly. But I did get this from a guy, I believe he was in New York. So I don't know, maybe that's a local place. I don't know. But yeah, so anyways, Duckies, I wanted to share this with you and, you know, share the Genesis Model 3 and, you know, how this could be a curiosity for those, one, who didn't even know about it, and two, for people overseas who really didn't know about it. So, anyways, Ducky, like and subscribe like always. And I believe in the next video we're gonna have another contender for the backlight of the Sega the Sega Game Gear. So, as always, Duckies, stay safe and be good to each other, and like and subscribe.